Hi, this is Odeean. Today I'm having a look at S.H.Monsterarts Burning Godzilla. Well, at least we've all been calling it Burning Godzilla, but the box just says Godzilla 1995. But, you know, Godzilla 1995 is Godzilla from Godzilla vs. Destroyah, so he is Burning Godzilla. Also in this box is these exclusive Maser and Freezer tanks that will probably only come with the first release. Turning the box around, you can see some cool action shots featuring some of Godzilla's new Poseability. Let's get it open and have a look. So here we have our Burning Godzilla, and straight away I'm going to say this is the best version of Godzilla. I have this guy who is the original Godzilla toy, but if you look at them straight on like this, you'll see I had to hunch him down to fit in the frame. This guy is significantly bigger. I don't know if that's to scale. I know that Godzilla, let me just go up a bit. I know that Godzilla sort of got swollen. He swelled up a bit as his heart, his reactor started to overload. I think that is a good enough explanation as to the increase in size, but either way I just like that increase in size, so it doesn't really matter to me if there's a good explanation or not. This rendition of Godzilla is strikingly done with the use of multimedia in the plastic. So previously we just had one kind of plastic used in our Godzillas, a solid grey, and I don't think they were even painted except for a little bit of dry brush work on the outside. This guy has translucent plastic used in some parts, like on the thighs here, and the chest, and the abdomen, and even some parts on the neck, shoulders, and spines. And what they've done is paint over that. So instead of painting the burning sections on, Bandai have made the whole thing see-through in those molded segments and painted the regular color over the top, resulting in a really good effect that looks like some parts of Godzilla are literally molten. To really bring home what I mean, have a look at this thigh assembly. So you can see the glistening orange section is where you can visibly see the translucency there, and you can see through to the underlying kind of yellowy skeleton underneath, and that's really cool. But what they could have just done one big chunk, but they've painted the whole region around it just to kind of localize that melting, so it looks like he's melting from one particular spot, and it's done to perfection. I mean, there's not one bad part as far as I'm concerned with the way these things look, and it's all over the place. So it's here on the chest too. Just focus on it. So you can see through portions of the chest, the shoulder. Very nice the way that the see-through parts glisten there. These spines, they look really molten, almost like jelly. I think they've even altered the sculpt a little bit to make them look more gelatinous with all that heat coming through. And finally, if you look at his eyeballs, they are burning with intensity. So he's really, really not happy. There you go, there's a good shot right there. Those bright red eyes. He looks like he's really suffering here as he melts down. For those of you who don't know, Godzilla, his heart is said to be basically a nuclear reactor, and he's needing more and more fuel to keep himself going, and as he pumps fuel in, he's overheating, and he's getting to the stage where he's going to either explode or melt down. Let's have a look at some Poseability. So this Godzilla's Poseability has been really dramatically improved over the previous Godzilla. So our shoulders have got quite a lot of in and out. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Well, anyway, this gives me a chance to show how they attach. It's just a ball joint with these kind of sleeves that go over it like this to cover in the gaps. So if I pop that little section back in there, when you do accidentally pop it out like this, it's just a matter of pushing it back on. It's not any big deal. At the elbow, we've got double joints, nice squeaky double joint, rotation swivel at the bicep, new jointage in the neck that we didn't really have before is the ability to really look back like this. So it can look a bit gappy if you go too far in this section right here, but he has a great degree of posability in the neck now that he never used to have. Getting it to look good can be just a matter of moving these segments to cover the gaps as you rotate it upwards. He has jaw articulation, which is up and down, hardly any wiggle. The last one was really on a single bowl, so you had a lot of side to side, but now with the jaw you basically just get the up and down, which is a little bit more natural feeling. Something that's new in this mold is an ab crunch. So you can see this is his most downward sort of looking stance with the abdomen really pushed right in, or you can extend it. You can see the gap forming there. You can extend it up until it looks just at the edge of being good like that, and put his head right up, and you've got the ability for Godzilla to sort of reach upwards with his nose, which is something the other Godzilla couldn't do. Let me just get the other Godzilla. So here we have this guy. That's as far as he can reach up. So you can see the first Godzilla can basically just look straight ahead, whereas this guy can really extend looking up, and it's good because some of his foes get bigger as time goes on. Moving down to the thigh, the hip, you can see again that it pops out much more easily this time. And I mean, I know it's not a positive thing that the joints can pop out, but the reason that they can pop out is because they've been given much more ability to move. So if you're careful, you can achieve some much greater degree of posability than what you could with the previous one. I mean, look at that. He can dance. Godzilla can dance now. The tail is pretty much the same. I've heard people say it is the same tail, like actually they've just manufactured the same tail and plugged it right on. I don't believe that is the case. I mean, I can clearly see differences in the molding. Perhaps it's just due to inaccuracy in the molding process for this tail. Maybe my first one wasn't produced particularly well, because I know it did have a little bit of a stuck segment up here, but as far as I can tell, it is not 100% identical. But I can't be totally sure of that. What I can be totally sure of is that this tail feels like it works a lot better and a lot more even than the first tail. So I'm quite happy with this tail, except for the fact that, as a lot of people have noted, we have this too abrupt transition in the coloring. So we've got translucent plastic, more, and then bang, just straight into the white. Even if they could have just put a little bit of orangey paint on the first couple of spikes, I feel it would have looked better. I know it's kind of screen accurate, but I'm not really happy with this transition. I mean, it's just ugly. So the sum of all that posability is that he can reach some pretty good poses, like what you see him doing right here. Good action poses, and I'm sure that's going to come in really handy when we get the Destroyah figure at the end of the month. So he also comes with these little tanks. Now, I'm pretty sure these are going to be exclusives, just like the Atomic Breath was with the first Godzilla. It's a little bit hard to focus on, but what we've got here, I think this one is a freeze gun. So Godzilla is getting so hot, they have to try and slow down the increase in temperature, otherwise he's going to just blow up and take out the world. And one of the strategies they have is to fire kind of freeze rays at him, and this is the little tank that does that. It has the ability to just rotate from side to side like this, and considering it's only about 2 centimeters big, it's pretty detailed. This one I think is a regular Maser cannon with some missile launchers at the side, and again it can rotate from side to side. And the paintwork on these, like this one, the Maser actually has more paintwork because the wheels are painted black as well as the silver detail on top. I can just focus on it. That's better. So I don't really care for these. I don't care about it. 2 tanks is not enough. If I could get a whole bunch, then that would be a different story. But as long as it's only 2, I'm not worried too much about these. We also get 2 alternate hands for Godzilla. So you can see that they're in more of a grasping pose. Maybe these are the hands he uses on Mrs. Godzilla, I don't know. But I think these were a little bit unnecessary, and I never had the urge to pull off his hands as it was because I thought they were just fine. So I'm going to try and put one of these on now, but it can be a little bit tricky. So you just have to pull pretty hard to get his normal hand off, and there's like a little stump there, a tiny ball, and you got to push pretty hard. That's not on properly. It looks like it's on properly, but it's still not on properly. I can feel it. And then once it's on, you can barely notice the difference, and it doesn't even really look right. So if you look at that from the side, you can see the sculpt doesn't really line up with the arm. It looks like it's not meant to be there. So the original hand kind of fit a lot better than this one does. Quite a pointless add-on, really. So here we've got the effect part, the spiral atomic heat beam or whatever it's called that comes with Fire Rodan. I know I've showed this effect so many times before, but Burning Godzilla is not complete without this effect. Go out, buy Fire Rodan, you need to have this set. It is totally awesome. I just pity those people who further down the line come back to this series and end up buying figures like Burning Godzilla and don't have this awesome effect part to show of him, because it's not complete. Without this effect, your display just it is never going to look right. I mean, these pieces are meant to go with each other. So the only thing that would improve the way this looks is if there was a way we could display it without the stand. The stands always kind of bother me, but I realize they're necessary because of the weight, but that is well worth having. So if you've got Burning Godzilla, definitely get Fire Rodan. So my final thoughts on Burning Godzilla. He is amazing. This is the best Godzilla from S.H.Monsterarts so far. I think he's actually my favourite S.H.Monsterarts so far. It seems that they continuously outdo themselves, but this figure just combines look, materials, poseability, design, quality. There is nothing that I don't like about this figure. It's definitely worth getting. It's a bit expensive. By the time you get it shipped, you're probably going to be looking at between $90 and $100, depending on who you get it from. So be prepared to pay, but it's definitely worth it. I highly recommend anyone pick this figure up. Whether you're a fan of Godzilla or not, this is a terrific action figure that looks fantastic, just as a standalone piece. Really great to have. So that's pretty much it. This has been my video review for S.H.Monsterarts, Burning Godzilla. I'm odeean, and thanks for watching.